Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking DraftKings. Had a nice pop here since earnings. They're still losing money, but what kind of data do you have on this one? Because, I mean, you can't watch any program on TV or streaming without them talking about the odds on every single sport now. I mean, is that what your data is showing, that it just continues to grow?
Yeah, it's almost as if sporting events have become, a lot less about the teams and the fans and the wins and the losses, and more about being a conduit to betting. And I think that's largely true. It's been an effective strategy. We're seeing really strong engagement in these betting apps, especially from a younger generation. Increased legalization across the board. Those are the two main macro drivers that are helping these companies. If you look at app downloads here highlighted in red, you can see that, sports betting wasn't much a few years ago, but it has overtaken almost every other category of sports app, including, fantasy sports, which is a really big deal. But on the negative side, they say the house always wins. But that's only true once they get you into the house. And getting you into the house is an extremely expensive proposition, as DraftKings, FanDuel, and all of these companies are figuring out. They have to really go out of their way and spend a ton of money to get you in the door, to get you to download that app, to market to you, and to outmarket their competition. And it even boils down to, they have to continue to spend money marketing to their existing customers, because there's really not much of a moat that keeps people from jumping from one app to the other based on where am I getting the bonus, where am I getting the best odds, which one wants me more for this bet or this deposit. And so it's kind of like, these companies are on a treadmill that is never going to stop moving. I don't know how they get to profitability until they can come to some sort of exclusivity, some sort of monopoly position. Just a very difficult business to be in, and will continue to be that way for a significantly long time.
Yeah, Andy, sports betting has never been more popular. There it is right now. I think fantasy football has taken, like what you mentioned, the home team almost out of the equation. You don't care about your home team as much as you care about your fantasy team. But here's the thing. Fourth quarter, hurt profits from unfavorable NFL outcomes. Second quarter, hurt profits from unfavorable Major League Baseball outcomes. Andy, are these guys just bad bookies? Is that what we're dealing with here? We're trying to work through this, and we got bad bookies. I'm trying to invest in.
I think at some point, if you're a bookie, you have to think, and the CEO's talking about, unfavorable outcomes, meaning that really popular teams are winning. And at some point, I think if you're a bookie, you have to acknowledge the fact that it doesn't matter what the spread is. More people are going to bet on the Yankees than a team from Toronto, and that's just the way it's going to be. So you have to adjust that line. But in any case, they're always going to have an excuse of why they weren't profitable. But the truth of the matter is they aren't profitable because it's extremely expensive to get their customers, and it's extremely expensive to keep their customers. And they don't have the highest happiness rating. There's not a lot of customer loyalty. It's really very tough to build a gambling app that has a high level of customer loyalty. There's only so much that people can lose in a given week or month. And DraftKings, FanDuel, they're fighting to see who can get the biggest share of that wallet. The one note I will make here, if you're looking at comparing the two, potentially a pair trade, DraftKings is definitely outperforming FanDuel this NFL season, which is usually a pretty critical time of the calendar year.
Yeah, that's FanDuel's Flutter Entertainment, FLUT is a ticker symbol. That stock's hitting, it's up 50% so far this year, hitting all-time highs right now, and DraftKings lagging there a little bit. But Andy, with that, we don't have two of the biggest, most populous states even on these betting apps yet. Is that the trajectory that you would see, and what kind of score would you give this based on the fact that they're growing? I saw one of your slides. that had, the growth rates just spectacular. Does that even kind of double down the efforts from investors that this is only going to get better from here?
Well, I guess it depends on your perspective. When you're losing money with every customer, is double the customers a good thing or a bad thing? I think you have to have some light at the end of the tunnel that we can turn these customers into into profit centers. And we'll see about that. I have my doubts. But I do think that increased legalization is definitely a tailwind for both of these companies. I think DraftKings is likely taking advantage of it a little bit more, at least recently. But that also could mean that they're just spending more money to acquire those people and set to lose more, like they said, in reducing their guidance going forward. So really tough plays. I don't really love either one of these stocks. I think there's better plays out there, even in the gambling world than online gambling. It's just a really bloody ocean to play in.
Andy, the one rule to live by: if you're betting on sports and Joe Pesci wants to see you in the desert, don't go, Andy. Do not go.
Yes.
All right. Great stuff. Great data as always, Andy. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. So, Kev, let's get into a discussion. We were talking during the break.
Yeah.